Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Great Ace Attorney. Case 3. We stopped in the middle of trial last session. So, we're going to be picking up right where we left off without any delay. Let's go. I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Oh, so extensive this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousin match. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. Dishonest coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace! And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is... yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures. I've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. Alright. Press! Hold it! So, there were only 4 passengers in your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? Dude's shaken. It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be looking for tells like it's Apollo's thing. I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself from passing out.
Excuse me!
If I may, Mr. Fairplay, what are you fussing about for now? That last statement appears to have given you pause for thought. Not really. By the way, you always seem to be looking to the side, one way or another. Do you have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, it seems. It's none of your business anyhow. Alright.
Hold it!
Hold it! Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. And I just told you that I did. Well, he's not doing his usual animation. I don't think that means anything, though. Not yet, anyway. A flat fare of 5 pence across the board.
Excuse me!
Oh. Oh, okay. I hit A while I was hovering over someone else, that's why. troubling you with that hat of his as he greased his head. Oh dear, sir. I hope my hat's not troubling you, sir. I'm still just an apprentice, you see. So Naruhodo, even the witnesses can see what's going through your mind. You really must be more careful. Okay. We don't get penalized for randomly pushing on statements, it looks like. Hang on. So I didn't actually see this dialogue all the way through, I think. I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. I'm getting chilblains just listening to you. It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a fifth passenger on the omnibus that night, then we would have had another suspect. Alright, that's that. It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone. Dead and buried. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. Alright. Hold it! This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir! Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gentleman stabbed. Why are you staring at him? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking up from its belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. Alright. Hold it! So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before, this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. Hold it! I think so? Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor. I described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, you know, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe. Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I could go over it again in my head, no. I suppose I didn't actually see the first moment of the stabbing, did I? Oh wow, okay, it's this obvious? Okay. In fact, now when I come to think of it, it must have already happened when I heard the scream. Ah, of course. That goes without saying. But I really wish he had said it earlier. It's all extremely weird, yeah. The autopsy report makes it quite clear that the victim was stabbed only once. Which means... the banker was a witness to the fatal wound that ended Mr. Mason's life. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful, as they did before. Maybe. But we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. I was expecting a more subtle tale, like you know, yeah, like when I'm doing perception or pulse perception, but I didn't expect it to be this obvious. Maybe the later ones get more subtle and stuff, you know, and they don't just like highlight it flashing with an exclamation mark. But we'll see. So they're clearly lying.
Hold it!
They're covering up the existence of a fifth person with the excuse of the fair, and I guess they're all in on it because they all have the same story. Is where we're going with this, but why are they doing it? That's the question. You didn't see the exact moment of the stab. Why are you reacting so badly?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Some days are like that. No chance! Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. There was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. Oh, I can do that alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'll forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed that man? His hands were not blood-soaked. I don't think so.
Hold it!
Who pressed it first? Blood-soaked? Ahem. Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. And you saw that from the roof, through the skylight. Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on the inside of the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw. This banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. Yep. Let's present the evidence. We present the gloves. Okay. Because it's not covered in blood. It's only the only part of the thing that's covered in blood is the part that was holding the handle. So this man is embellishing his testimony. Whether he's making it up entirely, we don't know, but whatever it is, he's definitely embellishing it. Because we know he owes the man money, so he wants to get him into trouble. Apparently.
Objection!
Objection! Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilden, on the night in question. Oh, yes. Right. There certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah! But, no! That can't be right. So you're the liar here, then? That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said, it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Yeah. Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. What is that word? I've never seen it before. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence! My lord. Yes, Counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. I do, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Yeah! Very well. I will call the defense to present its evidence. The evidence does say the whole Alright. I'm just slurring all the judge's words.
Take that!
Take that! This is a list of the debtors who owed money to Mr. McGilden. Yes, a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you claiming that it's initially the accused? No. Well, it's barely worth of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Ah! Well, what's of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilden were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? This record stated a loan agreement is forced into individual parties. Therefore, with the creditor of the defendant, the accused said this to the capital price. Oh, stated this the note will be an oath, so cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, Is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Ugh. Ah! Order! Order! Mr. Bruce, fair play? Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer will have the most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise when it was the time in which the defendant is lost their trust of a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth at a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on MacGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both his hands, not just the one. What? What? He wall slammed? That's new. Damage animation. Smack your head against the wall. Here we're going to further testimony from all the witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did not see. Do I make myself Yags. Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Witness testimony. Ooh, okay, this is the dramatic one. This is the last testimony of this section then. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard the scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we would have all seen. Behold, in truth of fact, no one of you was a witness of the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial, no significant change in the facts of the case. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. You know what's nice, though, like, surprisingly, so far in this court case, prosecution isn't that mean to us, and the judge isn't that mean to us. This has been probably the most professionally run court case I've seen in the entire franchise up to this point. The first case was, like, politically charged, so there was a little bit of shenanigans going on here, but, like, here in this case, it's like everyone is just doing their jobs. No one's really pulling off any like court romantics yet. Keyword yet. I'm sure they might eventually do something funny. But like so far, it's like everyone's been keeping it professional. Like it's kind of almost refreshing in that like it just never happens. It's very odd. Is that weird to think? There's not that weird to think, right? This franchise has kind of been very silly about their court cases and how people conduct themselves in court a bunch. It's kind of nice to see everyone being like professional, you know. Like I don't get the sense that the prosecutor is being that rude. I mean, yeah, he's a little racist, but like he's not he's kind of just yeah he's doing his job. You know, he's not insulting the defense. So yeah, it's kind of refreshing.
Hold it!
No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves that the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken by what he saw. But why? The reason is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accuser's fingers. I mean, he's not wrong. Unless the implication here is that he's being framed, you know, the blood was planted on the gloves, and someone else with doubly stained hands is the real murderer. Might be possible.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime, it's a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. But, for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could have possibly have done it. I was just trying to save us all some time. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding of the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? Well, that's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, that's a sure thing. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a flow spending money for the weekend. I think what your character that you bargained for, sir. This witness's scribbles are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work?
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands. Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilder's gloves has any sign of blood on it. Search? The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilder sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves. That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark-leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilder's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands. This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. Interesting. Hang on. Was there something in the... Let me take a peek in there again. Are we allowed to look through these? Nope, okay. We're just saying that it's a compartment. That's all the info we have for now. Okay, let's keep pressing.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything. Oh, yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir, I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? Oh, please. You didn't even see that. It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the large omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo!
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. I really asked the question of what of her we were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh? Why not? It was locked on the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked. That's right, and it's a public bus service for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? They can't see the compartment, but I don't know if that's what they're indicating here. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Japanese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You identified the area of this cross-section of the omnibus. Where exactly the omnibus is that it is potential as a passenger in this situation? In here, I guess. I mean, it's really small, but I guess that's what they're talking about. The storage room.
Take that!
Both rows of seats in the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Oh, okay. They're not even talking about the storage area. They're just talking about like who's sitting there. But then you'd say that like the guy sitting on the back can if he turns around and looks down, he can see the other side, right? Oh, that's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Yeah!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth of ambiguity. I concur the prosecution's rejoinder in the British Court of Law Evidence Experiment. I cannot entertain this conjecture, Counsel. I is unless able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Let me double check something. Let me double check something real quick. Okay, so yeah, this is the forward-facing seat. This is where the body was found. What are we implying here? I have an idea. I think it's possible... Chat, hear me out, hear me out. It might be possible that the victim was sitting on this side. It might be possible that the victim was sitting on this side, got stabbed here, and then the body was brought over here. Which would mean that none of them on the upper deck would have been able to see anything, unless like the guy sitting over there turned around and looked down this way, I guess. Which is possible, but I guess the idea, one possible idea is that none of them actually saw anything. So it's possible that like the victim was sitting here, and he got moved over here. So the answer to like who was sitting on the back seat was the victim, because this is very little blood, right? But like it's also it's a little weird that he's like bled out like that, because he was stabbed in the front. He was stabbed in the front like that, so I don't think any blood could have gotten onto the seats to begin with. Unless like the blade went through all the way, then there would be seat on the back of the seat. Like there would be blood on the back of the seat, not on the cushion of the seat, right? Am I on the right track? I guess just give me a small indication. Am I overthinking the blood issue? Because this has been bothering me since the start. I don't like where the blood ended up doesn't add up to me. If the blade went all the way through, the blood would be on the back of the seat, not on the cushion. So the fact that and if it didn't go all the way through, then the blood would have been on the shirt, maybe on his pants, like if it bled down a little bit, but that would be about it, right? That wouldn't be able to be blood getting anywhere else on the scene of the crime. And the blade's still in him. It's not like whoever did it like yanked the blade out and sprayed blood everywhere, right? Am I on the right track here? Because this is weird to me. Like where the blood is very weird to me. I guess just a quick reply to that. Am I overthinking the blood, or is that actually suspicious? I'm gonna say I have an inkling, and I'm going to say the victim. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. The response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. There's no delay, Counsel. The defense is still to name the other person, the person in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... Susato Mikotoba. I'm going to say the victim. But I don't... Okay, I should probably save, I guess, right? Well, I mean, I have 5 chances. I should probably just take it if I do game over. I'm going to... I'm thinking it's the victim, because I think the body was moved.
Take that!
Yes, concealed in the blind spot of the cabin at night was none other than this unexpected passenger. Whatever so-called logic you use to arrive at a conclusion, it matters not, because your answer has made one thing abundantly clear. The real blind spot is inside your head, and would appear to be unusually large. Oh, that wasn't it. Darn. You could have just said that that's not right. Mr. Naruhodo, our task here is to defend Mr. McGilded, and we are working on the assumption that he is innocent of this crime. Yes, of course. Why? That must mean, then, that there was someone else inside the omnibus of Mr. McGilded, the true culprit. That's right. Exactly what I've been... Oh! Of course. So the 2 people sitting inside the cabin that the witnesses saw through the skylight that night. They were the victim and the real culprit. It does seem as though we've all been making a false assumption. The witnesses weren't looking for Mr. McGilded at all, meaning he has to have been sitting somewhere else. There's no delay to the person in the first person. Alright. So... Are we supposed to go out on a limb here and just accuse one of the 2 witnesses to be part of it? Well, are we saying Mr. like, okay. McGilded could be sitting on that seat, I guess, but, like, what does that mean? That he couldn't see him? That, like... That still just leaves him and the victim in the cabin, so... I guess they're trying to push us towards saying it's one of these guys? Is this like a logic puzzle? This guy claims he hasn't seen anything. This guy claims he did see it. This guy is kind of just backing it up. But he also says he's sitting in front, so he also didn't see anything particularly. Is this where we just Perry Mason it? I guess we just Perry Mason it.
Take that!
No. Okay, that wasn't it. McGilded? I guess? I'm not sure how this helps our case though, because this is still just saying the same thing, like the victim and the victim and the murderer is in the same place.
Take that!
But I guess the idea here is that guess the idea is that he wasn't sitting next to him. So there was someone else sitting next to him, and the third passenger was Mr. McGilded. I don't know. This still seems like a far-fetched thing to name because, like, how are we gonna prove it? We can't prove it just yet. Anyways, the passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
He just... What is a man? Crash. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Vanix! People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and a culture of their own, but I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an Atlas backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It is the very premise on which this case was built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, he creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What consistency, Counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears a gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, the testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. There was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary! Okay. A couple leaps of logic there, I guess, but kinda makes sense. Okay, fair enough. Alright. Fair enough. I just think that's a little bit of a weak premise, a weak direction of attack. Then again, I guess attacking the position of the body is also not necessarily the strongest position to have to rely on, so fair enough. It's not like my idea was any better. What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that he saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. Oh, particular stars ahead of the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First. I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? Mr. I'm doing too many voices, I'm getting mixed up. The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can he be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah! He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGooder would have been unaware of it.
Order! There's a solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGooder, to the stand.
Oh, what say you, Counselor?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGooder is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it would have been the most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGooder to testify or not? At this point, I think we need his testimony, right? Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGooder to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGooder has to say. Get the men out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard.
Very well to hear the defendant's testimony. Really send the defendant to the stand at once.
Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. It's probably gonna have to do with the trunk, right?
The proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGooder, have you listened to the discourse of the day?
We sure have, my lord.
There are two matters in which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there is a third party in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. Second, whether such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police?
God, no. It's not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along, though I tell you so to keep me mouth shut. Tell us what, Mr. McGooder? The fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
You sure?
Aye, it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. You... What?! No, Magnus McGooder. The convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, sir, I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you wanted to know I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
It's yours?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have ordered into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
Who's young sir whom you speak?
That? I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
A stowaway. You have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls our witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. The urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to proceedings. What? Ah, smoke! Ah, fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! After them! It's no use! I can't see anything through all the smoke! What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape! Secure the omnibus!
I hereby call an emergency recess. I live and send the defendant in custody and clear the courtroom.
Was someone hiding in the seat? He was hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos, as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Interesting. We only opened one side. I don't know if both sides of the seats could open. There was a handle on the other side, I'm pretty sure. But the game wouldn't let us look in there. Was somebody stowed away in there too? I wonder. But then they would have to been stowed. They would have to have been stowed away in there for like days by now, right? What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then, could it be? The other passenger that Mr. Megura was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh. Maybe not in the omnibus. Maybe, like, in the courtroom is what they're saying. Oh, what's become of Mr. Megura, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. I guess the idea is she snuck on board. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say. But it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Hi. Alright. Let us see. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilder. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
After the rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilder. Now then, Lord Van Zeet.
My lord.
I believe we have established the cause of the smoke with real proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious, the army! What the devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand.
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade and use such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
Ahem. For me, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGill.
But perhaps I ought to explain here. Why is it that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried a boat like that? So tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Now, Mr. McGill, give your testimony. Yes, please the court is tell that this young woman is involved in this case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. I've taken cases with less information than this. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. There, Pecora! Lot thought that wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fellow collapsed to the floor at my feet, so I sat him up and seat across from me. Then I took to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all caught up in the bow, hiding a wee self away.
Anyway, so we're back for the confession. From what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct?
Just exactly as the defense counsel said. This last of the fifth passengers, my lord. Do we have a profile for her? Not yet. Unless... Hmm. I mean, his name is literally Lady. Are you actually... Gina disrupted the trial? Who's Gina? Oh wait, is this not that character then? The smoke gun thing? Yeah. There was Gina Lestrade. Oh, a Sherlock Holmes character? There's an Inspector Lestrade in Sherlock Holmes. Oh, whatever.
The defense will not cross-examine a witness. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Gina Lestrade isn't a spoiler. Don't worry. Oh, okay. So this isn't a cross-dressing... Okay, because the hair color is the same, and dude's name is Lady first. So, for a second there, I thought this was this character but cross-dressing. Or maybe like this character was like, you know, but then again, this is clearly a woman's figure and the other one is like, okay, you know what? I'm overthinking it again. I'm getting ahead of myself. Can't check the other side. So. And when you first got into the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either.
None of us passengers were. I see.
Aye. And that's why I took the back side as I did. It's the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. That's how you really described it earlier. You're talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman was stabbed to sit in. Like I said, it's the most comfortable one where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? Just like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. From the seats above. Oh, wow, I gave the judge a normal voice for a second.
Oh, the seats above are on the roof track, I presume.
Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes.
Hold it!
You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Just common courtesy, so it is. I find it a little hard to believe. Lord Van Zeeks, now what would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the captain. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm into something of a special line of business.
The business is lending money at exorbitant rates of interest.
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting that you were just going to leave the man there? Oh. Hang on. I hit the shoulder button. Heavens alive! No, I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had in mind to find out what the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddle in. The wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victims collapsing.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you excuse the vulgar expression, under my backside.
Good gracious!
Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I've been sitting, I found there was a wee cupboard there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as an evidence. Yeah, and I looked in there already. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's what I found her.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, where my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still don't know. I pulled her up from under there. I sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. The seat opposite? That's right, just next to the gentleman there.
You said this year ago to explore comics, sir.
Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, the gentleman in my position can often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. I was in the middle of talking with her. I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably, that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Look down through the skylight, you must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
And who was the previous witness and not in fact you at all, Mr. McGildy? What I believe to be your servant, the victim was in fact this girl, the late Mr. Mason?
Pardon, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight.
It is certainly plausible. But the end of this somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with a young girl.
After that, of course. With a scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses.
Thank you, fair enough. The events have explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns a crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What?
This girl here, a pretty thief. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you answer the question. How dare you? What is the meaning of this? She's gone.
Open your eyes! I'm over here.
Good gracious! Oh!
Well, what's the point in that little... What's the point of the little sidestep? I don't want you... Oh, okay. Voice. Chat. What voice? No, you know, there's no question. There's only one voice that fits this. Looking at this line, there's only one voice that comes to mind. Uni. I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you see, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what's in your head, ain't it? You right, Muppet? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. I'm going with that. No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast... Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? Like the pink vest.
Oh, we're in my direction again.
So, you admitted you were riding the omnibus on the night in question. What you looking at? Hey. Hey, this one's looking at me funny. It's alright, lass, you can tell them the truth now. Alright. Yeah, it's just like the Irishman said.
I gotta say this case, this thread is a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, will not hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question.
Alright. If I have to. So I snuck inside the carriage before they opened up the horses, just like always. It was a right to a waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. There's pitch in there. And after a while, I ate his loud bang. Then he jumped on my skin, I did. And a scream just came out. It's because of that, this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go.
I really don't understand why you let this situation go, Mr. McGilly.
Oh, the simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I've said before, sir. I was just in the right on top of the place where she was hiding herself.
The negative demonstration is called for.
And this is where I was sat that night. And the cubby... Oh, there's the judge.
And the cubby hole which you've spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes. Another gate is large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I parked myself on the bench for the parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh,
So you see, that's why I let the last boat. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
even though you must have realized your action resulted in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. Ashamed of myself for ever adopting you, sir. But if neither of them did it, then who did it? With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Where is this going?
Saints alive! All six members of the jury consensually are leaning to a verdict of not guilty.
It's another hurdle. This... well, it must mean... It must mean what? They were victorious. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
That caught me off guard. That caught me off guard. I've seen death slams. I've seen death slams in the game in this franchise before. That's new. You know how I was talking up like how everything was being conducted professionally and all, like up to this point. Yeah. Well, there it is, huh? There. It's Ace Attorney. They can't resist, man. Right? They're gonna do something larger than life sooner or later. This man is presenting us his foot, and well, is this Victorian England? Yeah, this is Victorian England. This would be scandalous. He's showing us his ankles. Scandalous. Actually, no, his ankles are covered, but still, scandalous. Not the foot. The sight of my iron-hued Wellington offends. Pray, do forgive the discourtesy. This is silly. This really is a consuming example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, The interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. That's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good lord!
The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilder's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Wait, hang on. It was there earlier. We checked, we literally just looked into it. That wasn't there earlier, hang on. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Okay, yeah, the bloodstain on the floor wasn't there before. And this cabinet wasn't there. They tampered with the evidence in between? Who did, though? Let me think about this. So this whole thing is fake. The stuff was there earlier, so if what you're saying is true, that means she couldn't have fit in there. She couldn't have fit in there, so we know that to be true. So she wasn't in there. So where does that leave us? Huh. You know, I have no clue. I don't know where this is going. I think this is the first time. This is the first time in the franchise that we had evidence tampered in the middle of trial, right? Like changed directly beneath our noses.
How could such a devious contrivance possibly be defective, Counsel?
Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiency of the Council Laboratory in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. I can corroborate that, actually. Well, my Nipponese friend? Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the undersea compartment to be? To be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. This is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. Did he do it? Unless he is completely innocent, but he also just has a grudge against the prosecution for some reason. Because the excuse he gave doesn't hold up. This explanation doesn't hold up, so this feels like he tampered with it. Or he got someone to tamper with it. Are we defending someone guilty? He went for an emotional play, and he went for an emotional play to sway the jury. And his actual evidence just, the example doesn't hold up. Where's this going?
Well, Counsel, you have something to say on this matter.
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat of the omnibus? Well, we looked. It wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case, my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes.
Are you sure, Counsel?
Bewist! What are you saying now, you daft door? I thought you were on my side here. Is he actually guilty? I'm not sure. What game are you playing? The task is to defend a man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Well, I mean, it's the truth. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. This is not altogether pleasant, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Okay. He's insisting on it. Yeah, I'm almost certain he did it now. Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here?
This is like the jury's ruling on this matter, I think.
The compartment is designed to house equipment used to manage the smooth running of the carriage. The guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo wasn't irresponsible. That moneylender fleecer and the pick purse are lying! Ah. I can't believe I was nearly taken in! The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick! Of course it's a trick! Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, Counsel. Before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. This is interesting. This is very interesting. But I think we'll have to pick it up where we pick it up next time. I don't know how long this trial is, and I don't know if this is a good place to stop, but it's about an hour and a half in again, so this feels like a good place to stop, especially since we've just had some very heavy implications dropped on us that our friend here is not exactly the most scrupulous. Now, I won't say for sure he did it, but it's not looking good for him. It's not looking good for him, but it at the very least, even if he's not guilty of murder, he's guilty of evidence tampering. almost certainly. So, yeah, defendant of dubious character. We shall see. Alright, tune in next time for the next episode of Great Ace Attorney, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Stay tuned, folks. I'm almost at the end. Like, how much of it? Like how much longer? Like 15, 20 minutes? Half an hour? In that case, I gave a whole ending speech, but instead what we'll do is I am going to rehydrate myself because I have been talking for an hour and a half. So, I will be right back. Alright. Alright, I have rehydrated. And given this new information that we are actually just like a couple cross-examinations away from finishing, we'll push for it. Alright, let's keep going, chat.
Hold it!
So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run. Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a jolly to make a few bob, eh? It's a rum idea, ain't it? I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense.
Sir, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. For paying passengers at 5 pence apiece and making the 20 to which the captain testified. And one little scapegrace riding for free. The real conk of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I step into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment, full of equipment for the coach, no? Are you in on it? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in the corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
It seems we reached the end of their line of inquiry. Continue.
Hold it!
A waste of time. Why is that?
Well,
Most nights I'm on my own in the God permit at least some of the time.
I beg your pardon, did you say God permit?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what my kind called it. You say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on his seat from the start. He didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
You need to trust you were present in the carriage for the duration. You wanted to see the entire stream of events unfolded in an enclosed cabin.
Yeah? Right, mister? To be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head and look out the crack. Then I can't have a butcher to the crew I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time, the passengers plumb themselves opposite. For some reason that night, these here Irishmen spent the whole journey right over me head. For that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Used too much of being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide and ride in them carriages, so it's Hobson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared. I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Yeah, Gina Lestrade is... Yeah, Lestrade is an inspector in the Sherlock Holmes stories, so... I suspect this character is an undercover... or something, I don't know. Maybe? I'm actually not sure where this is going.
Hold it!
But that's my meta knowledge talking. Right now she's just sus and a bit complicit. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling onto the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And he let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes. Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not?
Well, girl, did you see what happened at the crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher while I was at the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke who had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGilder's account, of course. But then, the fellow suddenly turns and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilder discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me out and sat me down in the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. And the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both my hands got covered in blood. It made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked to Mr. McGilder for a while, is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what was up and all that. Then I heard something from up above, someone scream.
Yes, it's the first on the roof deck, one will presume.
Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. And the horses were drawn up smartish, and this there Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury have decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief, shining moment, yes. It's clear they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. There's blood on the floor. Okay, there's no tell this time. There's no obvious tell. We have to like pay attention. It's probably not this line. No tells there. Not yet, anyway.
Hold it!
Let's check this one. No reaction from I saw it. Scanning the lines. Okay, I think it might have been on the last line because that's when we were talking about how it fell over. He's got a hell of a poker face. Not sure if we have to pursue anything on this one, or if we just have to directly present evidence. The blood on the floor is the new piece of evidence, I guess. But we can't identify it, like, I can't look at it from here. The angle isn't right. Maybe I gotta look at it from up top. Yeah, because now you can see the blood from the... Is there a reason they put it at such an angle that we can't go and look at it?
Hold it!
Alright, we'll just check out the lines. Can't see a thing in there, maybe.
Well, no.
That's different. Was that there before? I had to linger on that for a bit. Oh well.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? I did apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. It was nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad shut up in the dark. It was terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye. And I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah? I suppose it does. Maybe. Miss Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Jabbers! There's no need to tell the whole world me foilbers, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Mr. Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? She didn't hear anything. She didn't hear the other guy come in? She didn't hear the guy die? That's weird. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it.
I'm almost sure I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind Council, nevertheless. Mr. Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge. Always a good move. It was training me years to work out what I was going about. I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hit yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher to see what was what. But then when I saw the swell getting on, I got my head down so you didn't notice me. And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah, which out of me of it, eh? What a mug. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out there as soon as I heard him leave, see? Would he? Not likely. Even though he was stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. But I had to stay put and listen to him driving as big as the market, snoring like an old dog he was. That's weird. But any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? Doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
At odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zieks realized it too. She's lying. How else you wouldn't be able to hear anyone else get on?
Now, sir. Now, it seems that you both have clear evidence for some complicit party's name at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate his alleged contribution to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. There's something else she should have heard. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Mr. Stroud could not have failed to hear on that night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of this following person.
Take that!
Christ, Friar Mason?
Yes, my lord. The sound that Mr. Stroud cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel.
Mr. Stroud, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct?
Yeah?
Of course I was. I got out what the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded. That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. So you were, to all intended purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for the soul to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Oh. We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts. Ah! Yes, this petty thief's statement is clearly flawed. Lord Van Zieks! Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Is that right? Could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? It makes no sense whatsoever. This girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. Ah! She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the girl little mine just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman. I didn't want to judge the girl just because she had some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Wow, where is this going? Are we about to lose the trial? Like, at the expense of truth? Like, I mean, good ending because we get the truth, but like, we're about to lose the trial? It's another hurdle. That's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles that you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Ah! Yeah! What are you paying at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Easterner Hamadan? This is carnage! It's perfect! Juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going! I know. If we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. Megura's innocence, the judge will rule, and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness' last statement seemed to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel! Sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once.
When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard open a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand.
And the victim's body was found inside the carriage.
If, despite the thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. He was put there after he died? He was in there already. There's another entrance. I legitimately don't know what we're gonna go for here. I guess the double blood stains indicate that he was put there after he died? Obviously, the victim must have been placed in the carriage after he was killed.
Objection!
Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that obviously in your last sentence?
I said, Lord Renzies, the obviously is troubling me also.
No! That's really not the point. The point is that the victim must have been moved into the carriage afterwards. Then answer me this. How could a cadaver have been placed inside a moving carriage? Well, obviously, I shall have to penalize the defensively for this irrelevant rambling. Wow, they're sneaky. They hide the badges. They hide the badges so you don't know if you're on the right track or not. The penalty is... Alright. Alright, it wasn't moved there after, so he was there to begin with. Clearly, he was in there already from beforehand.
Objection!
Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that clearly in your last sentence? Oh, this isn't good. Well said, Lord Renzies. The clearly is troubling me also. Then answer me this, but beforehand, closest point and tell me you're referring. Okay, that wasn't it either. There's another entrance? What are you talking about, though? Damn, they actually have me bamboozled here. What are they talking about? What other entrance? Hang on. The skylight? Can the skylight open? I guess that's what they're talking about, right? That seems to be the only other possibility at this point. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door, The other has only windows. Fixed windows, which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
Alright, Counsel. The defense identified the location for the code. Here's the universe in which the incident occurred. I don't know if it is dangerous that we should propose the victim enter the cabin.
The skylight, I guess?
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight.
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost had me lost for words. However,
Objection!
skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGilded and Mr. Stroud said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which is already been explained. There's the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted at the decker.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witness described? Good point, actually. Is this plausible? But they did tamper with the evidence. Why, though? Even if this is in fact what happened. The noise loud enough to cause Mr. Stroud to let out an involuntary cry, in fact.
Oh, good gracious!
Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded. To be certain now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified before said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, it is not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. It's a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would you not agree? Fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof. You mean, the ones who stuck that knife in the man were...
Oh! Hold it!
Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitterer? You rotter, he said. You rotter! What are you insinuating? This is a flaming outrage. I've a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said. And so will I. Mr. Fairplay. Well, this court case is all over the place. You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker. And me, a very angry hatter. Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right. I protest too. About you rotten scoundrel. Everyone's on stand now.
Order! 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 It is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once.
But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment.
Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks.
It was the defense that incited his outburst on the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon our protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimidated their criminal guilt. In our British court of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know it was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on that fellow. We have to see this matter true now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. Testify. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? Spectators in the public gallery are they're in a complete frenzy.
Mr. Fairplay, Mr. First.
My lord?
You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense.
Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. There's another one? Alright. Chat, this is taking a little longer than I expected. I think I will have to call things here. It's a little late and I do gotta do some stuff first before I wrap up for tonight, so I do have to call it here. So in the next stream, we'll finish the case and then we'll start on the next one. Alright, sounds good? Okay. Sorry to cut things short like this, in the like right at the climax, but... Hoo boy. Yeah. Very exciting though. I'll see you guys around then, alright? Stay tuned for the epic finale.